Mackenzie Critiques and Mackenzie bigs up your favorite anime. Welcome to a review of Berserk episode 2. And I said I'm gonna drop this and I won't be reacting to it, but I thought, you know what, I've got some time. I might as well give a review of it because I am interested in watching the series and see how it adapts the manga. Now, some people might be disappointed to know that obviously they skip over the Lost Children arc, which is a significant chunk of material in the manga, and this also ties into my issue that the best way to describe Berserk right now, as it is with this adaptation, is it's Berserk without the bite. I can kind of understand maybe why they decided not to do the Lost Children arc, and it'd be interesting to see what they decide to adapt as they move forward. And obviously things like the adult attack, for those of you who have read the manga, read that portion of the manga, adult attack, and scenes depicting that kind of sexual violence, I honestly think they wanted to shy away from that kind of thing. But not only that, it develops a huge, subsection of that universe. Now, this episode sees Guts introduced to the Iron Chain Knights, or meeting the Iron Chain Knights, and they're led by Lady Furnice. And my issue here is that this anime, and I know this is being a dead horse, the visual and the decision to go with CGI makes this look like a video game, and in that way it makes the violence look like video game violence. When Guts is there slicing up the Iron Chain Knights, it's just video game character models going around with CGI blood spraying everywhere. It doesn't even look real. There's nothing visceral about it. It doesn't feel as visceral as the old TV series, the first Berserk TV series. And because of that, it loses its bite, and that's the best way. Berserk without the bite. Now, there was a character amongst the Iron Chain Knights, I think his name was Serpico, and he made the comment that I became a arms chief, or the guy in charge of the arms, because I hate the sight of blood. Now, I don't know whether that was like a wink wink nod. I'm not familiar, or I don't remember that scene in the manga that as clearly because it was years ago. But in a way that kind of works as a wink wink nod to, the fact that Berserk has lost that edge, and then right after he says that, the giant slash that he does to basically split those soldiers in half, which just didn't have the effect that it should have had. Now, if that scene had been in the manga, that would have been one of those pulse-pounding, visceral moments that, wow, right after he said that. But because of the nature of the anime and the fact that it's CGI and it looks so much like a video game that you're not invested in, that scene lost its impact, which I believe would have been a far more visceral, depiction in the manga. So I'm not surprised if some people were disappointed with that particular set piece. And also in this episode, it seems as though Guts has been nerfed. And that also ties into Berserk without the bite, Guts without the bite. The guy had a gimpy leg, and he was let down by a gimpy leg. If you know the manga, you know that guy was like a vicious dog, like a cornered fox, as it were. Not even cornered fox, like a cornered dog that was like rabid when he was hurt. But in this, a little gimpy leg got him down. It's like they nerfed the guy. And then as he's approaching Farnese, after literally just like a bowling ball rumbling through all these things, she comes and she nicks him on the neck, and he falls and he collapses. And it just, there's something about it where I feel as though they've dumbed it down. They've just dumbed it down, because it's as though a true one-to-one adaptation of Berserk can't get made. Can it get made? I don't think it could. I mean, Drifters is coming out, and that's graphic depiction. It's hand animated, drawn, everything. If a show like Drifters can come out in OVA form, why can't you give OVA treatment to Berserk? I don't understand. And then we got to the scene with Guts being subdued and interrogated by Farnese, and they have an interesting conversation about God and faith, being faithful, and where is evidence of your God post-eclipse and the world you live in and all that kind of stuff. And she has a little bit of a wet moment, as I would call it, after she's done scratching him up basically. And even that scene, the graphic nature of that scene was kind of let down. And the interesting thing is that I think we're supposed to feel, when something violence happens, there's a consequence to that violence. There's a moment in that where, in the beginning, where he cuts down all these people, and a soldier's holding his fellow, compatriot, comrade. Because these characters are all just dummy mob characters with their helmets down, and with he's crying over it. Even the guy who's you know, mourning for his friend, his helmet's down. It's like a video game character, and video game violence is just so detached. You know, you become desensitized to that kind of violence. Whereas the, you know, the old anime and the manga, you feel it. You know, it's visceral. It has impact. And I think this is Berserk without the bite, and it ends with the self-flagellating. Fani's self-flagellating herself and trying to look for guidance, and you know, because she is uncertain, and it seems as though she's shaken in her faith. And the reality is basically a match for the legend that she had about the Black Swordsman, and it ends with Guts escaping and taking her with her. Now, even in that scene, you know, as far as I know, that scene was more graphic in the manga, and they're trying to avoid the nudity aspect of it in the show. And I feel as though these are all decisions that they've made to avoid, you know, being as graphic as the manga, and that does not serve Berserk well. So I don't know where this is gonna go, and I don't know what the pacing will feel like with all these chunks missing out the show. I don't want it turning into set piece moments. I just do not want it turning. I thought the Lost Children arc was integral to developmental aspects to Guts. And there was a scene where they was having a flashback with the Guts talking to Griffiths, and it reminded me so much of Makishima Shogo. Obviously, it's the voice actor for Makishima Shogo, but their character designs are so alike. The beautiful white or blonde hair, as it were, you know, the kind of androgynous kind of figure, the kind of stoic, sort of ethereal way that Makishima Shogo speaks, and the way that Griffith speaks, and that reminded me very much of that. And I'm glad. That's one thing I'm glad about, that they have such a brilliant voice actor for, or they've retained such a brilliant voice actor for Griffiths. I thought it was generally okay, but you know what? It's gonna hurt the show. It's gonna legitimately hurt the show if the CGI can't, you know, depict the impact of what's going on, because there's a lot of violence in this episode, and it just felt like video game characters slicing each other up. And I actually compared it to Valkyria Chronicles. If you've seen Valkyria Chronicles on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, the video game, it's literally as though they're using character models created by Sega or whatever studio made Valkyria Chronicles to create this show. And I think that works. It's cheap. I think it's cheap, and I think I'm beating a dead horse on it. So yeah, I hope you you know, enjoy that. I guess I can't say you enjoyed that review. I mean, if you really enjoyed the show, then you would have thought, damn, you criticized it a lot. But I want to give my honest opinion of this week's episode. And as far as the narrative stuff goes, I think because they're skipping so many things, some things aren't tied together. Some things just don't tie together. Some things that are referred to here appeared in the manga sooner than this. So people are left wondering, why is this here? Why is he talking about? What is he referring to? And you can tell, and it's you can tell in the show. And I hope they don't skip huge chunks, because as far as I know, I heard someone say 6 volumes worth of content was skipped now that they've jumped to the Iron Chain Knights and that kind of thing. So, you know, let's see how it goes, and hopefully it'll be good. And this is why I didn't decide to react to it, because if I've got nothing good to say about it, if I've got nothing to say, or I'm different, then it just won't make for a good reaction. It'll pain me to do it, and it'll pain you guys. So yeah, thank you for watching.